What is going on, trophy hunters? It's May the 13th, 2020, and a new Tony Hawk game just got announced. I don't know what is happening anymore. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remastered, I suppose. Let's dive in and have a look at it. So, as I was saying at the top, I woke up this morning to the news of a new Tony Hawk Pro Skater game. Well, I guess not a new Tony Hawk Pro Skater game, but a remaster of Tony Hawk's Pro Skaters 1 and 2 on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. It's crazy that this is happening now. I have no idea why this is happening now. We don't have any trophies or anything like that yet, but we do have a release date. The game comes out on the 4th of September, and I thought, let's have a look through the blog post, and let's have a look at the collector's edition of the game that's coming out as well, which is pretty exciting. So, if it's not already obvious, this is a remaster of the first two Tony Hawk games, arguably the best two Tony Hawk games in the entire series. It's odd they never did 1, 2, and 3, because they were all PS1 games kind of in that trilogy, but I think Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 is the one that most people have an affinity with. It's the one that I remember playing a ton of when I was a kid. This is a franchise that I thought was long dead after the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 game that came out a couple of years ago, which completely bombed. Okay, so let's have a look at this thing. We've got the original Birdman, Tony Hawk, and Vicarious Visions, the studio behind Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy, have come together to bring back Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, radically remastered for the PlayStation 4, PS4 Pro, and family of Xbox One devices. Maybe I'll put the trailer up on the screen here while I'm talking, and that might be a bit more interesting to look at. But launching on the 4th of September, which is only like 3 months away, which is incredible. This is the right way to announce and release a game like this, because it gets people excited immediately, and then they get it almost straight away, which is awesome. It's set to bring back original levels, pro skaters, tricks, modes, and songs from the iconic soundtrack, as well as amp up the experience with new ways of playing, including multiplayer. So basically they're saying, we're going to give you everything that the original had, plus so much more, which is really, really good. It's the way to do it. Vicarious Visions have really proven themselves as well in the last couple of years, developing Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy, and really putting a lot of love and care into a PS1 classic and bringing it to the current generation. So I have a lot of faith in these guys to do a really faithful recreation of these games. I believe they also worked on Crash Team Racing as well, with Beanox, so they had a little bit to do with that one too. It gives me full confidence that this game is going to be remastered to be exactly what we want it to be, but just for a modern generation, or a modern take on that game, which I think is all anyone's ever wanted from another Tony Hawk's game. They list off all the different pro skaters that will be featured in the game, a lot of classic skaters who were in the original. They all come with their own special moves. They mention the game is going to feature all the original levels from the game, as well as many of their songs. So I'm guessing they probably couldn't license all of the songs for the original games, but they've managed to do a pretty good job of that apparently. This is which would be really impressive, because I imagine licensing music for a game that's like 20 years old almost at this point would be a pretty challenging task. Yeah, so that's pretty much all there is to it. The trailer's pretty cool. There's definitely some nostalgia vibes in there. The game doesn't look like the most graphically intensive game. You're not getting The Last of Us or something like that, but it's pretty impressive for a PS1 remaster. I would say it's probably not as impressive as Crash to Crash Insane Trilogy, but given the style of Tony Hawk's, I think they've done a pretty good job. The interesting part is that the title is in the US is just a retail price of $39.99. So in Australia that works out to be about $69, I think. Yeah, so in Australia that works out to be $69.95, which it equates to a budget title in Australia, I would say. So, I mean, it makes sense for a remaster of a PS1 game. It's got 2 games in there, and you're getting it for a slightly discounted price. Normally, like a AAA title in Australia is $99. So, it makes sense. It's about right. The interesting part of it, though, is that there's also a collector's edition of the game, which is probably what excited me the most, because you wouldn't see a collector's edition for a game of a remaster or something like this. Not normally anyway. So it's not a massive collector's edition. They've got a copy of the game. You get the digital deluxe content, as well as a limited edition skateboard deck, which is pretty cool. It's a birdhouse board. I've never seen this design before. It looks like it's a unique design, signed by Tony Hawk, obviously. We've got his logo on there, and then it looks to say Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. on there too, the new Tony Hawk's Pro Skater logo that I believe they're using. So it's a pretty cool design. I'm kind of tempted to jump on this one because I'm a big skater, and also I really loved these games when I was a kid, so having kind of a piece of like memorabilia like this from the game is a pretty cool thing. So yeah, the verdict is this is a really cool announcement. I am curious to see what other people think of it as well. It says here if you pre-order, you can get access to the warehouse demo, but it doesn't say when that will be available to everybody. And there's also a physical pre-order bonus of a mini fingerboard apparently in the US as well. So yeah, very, very interesting, pretty exciting news that we're getting this in 2020. I can't wait to see what the trophies look like for this one. I'm assuming they're going to have 2 trophy lists, one for Pro Skater 1 and one for Pro Skater 2. Hopefully they don't just meld them together. Given that it's Vicarious Visions and they did a really good job with Crash Insane Trilogy trophy list, my assumption would be that they'll do justice on this one as well, and they'll do a really decent job of it. So fingers crossed on that one. But yeah, this is awesome. What do you guys think though? That's what I'm curious about. Are you interested in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater as well? Are you going to be picking this one up? Is this a franchise that you have like an affinity with the same way that I do, or is this something that you just don't care about? And what do you think of the collector's edition? I am thinking I'm going to pre-order it, but I'm just not quite sure. I'm almost convinced, but not quite. There's not a ton of other collector's editions coming out this year that I'm gonna jump on. Oh, and that's actually something to point out as well. And the price point is not too bad for the collector's edition. It's like $170 in Australia, so you're paying $100 for the skateboard, which is about what you would pay for a new board anyway, or an incomplete like that. So yeah, I think it's kind of a reasonable price, unlike some of the more expensive THQ collector's editions, which are going up at the moment, which are incredibly expensive. But yeah, that's all from me for this one. Really excited about this game actually. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below if you enjoyed this video, and leave it a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye now.